everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. On today's show, Barcelona want to buy Marcus Rashford, but for cheaper than his option to buy, lower than £26 million. Are they being serious? Also reports that they might even try for another loan move. With United needing to spend next summer, you need the Rashford pure profit. He's performing, he's doing it at a good level. Come on now, this is where Manchester United really need to stand their ground, but we'll get your opinion in on it with news coming out of Spain. Also, some news coming out of Italy, and that is Joshua Zirkzee and Kobbie Mainoo, both being targeted by multiple clubs, and with neither of them starting a Premier League game under Ruben Amorim so far this season. It's a big question out there is, do Manchester United have to let them go, and how much does that impact the squad? I would be gutted. I would be gutted if Kobbie Mainoo went. I wouldn't be as gutted if Joshua Zirkzee went, but I would be upset if Joshua Zirkzee went. I think he's a good player. I'm going to explain why I think Manchester United should keep both of them very shortly. Paul Scholes has been speaking out, saying that Eddie Howe should be Ruben Amorim's replacement, or could be a possible Ruben Amorim replacement. We'll talk about that. And some news on André Onana and a transfer boost for him. But get into the comments, everyone. Get involved in the live show. Get your super chats in. Smash a like on the video. Welcome to the show, and let's get into it. So, let's kick things off with Kobbie Mainoo. So, oh, my earpiece has just fallen out. Bear with me, people, because if anything goes wrong, I need that in. So I'm that excited to talk to you guys that my earpiece is flying out. But welcome, everybody. So, I want to start off with Kobbie Mainoo. Like I said, on these shows, I don't like to put it out there like Mainoo is definitely going to be leaving, he's going to Napoli. It's not at that stage yet. However, I have heard previously, and again, I always say, take it with a pinch of salt. I'm not saying I'm out here speaking to Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein about these things, but I have heard that Napoli were seriously interested in Kobbie Mainoo in the summer, and it was Kobbie Mainoo's preference. I heard that. He didn't want to leave. He never wanted to leave Manchester United on a permanent basis. He wanted a loan. He wants to play for Man United. He loves the club. However, if you're not getting the game time and you've got a World Cup and you want to progress your career, then you want to go and play football. And if he wasn't going to get the game time at Manchester United, I know Napoli was up there as one of his priorities. That's what I got told, okay? It's now circulating again that Napoli are still massively interested in Kobbie Mainoo. And Kobbie Mainoo, he's open to that move. And if you're Kobbie Mainoo and 1 minute, you're at the heart of Manchester United's team, you're man of the match beating City in the FA Cup final, and, you work your way into the England squad to play a final in the Euros for England and are one of the better players, and the next thing you know, you can't get into a 14th place Manchester United side. I mean, we might have gone up the league actually since that Sunderland win, but a Man United side that isn't really doing very well. We're all buzzing about the Sunderland win, of course we are, but we've still not got back-to-back wins in the Premier League. If you can't get into that, you're barely getting any time off the bench. You've not started a game for Ruben Amorim yet this season. You are going to start to think about the possibility of you going to another club. As much as you love the club, as much as you're working hard behind the scenes, which we are told he is. He is working super hard, he's training super hard, he's doing everything he can to try and get himself into that Manchester United team. But at the end of the day, he doesn't sit down on match day and pick it. There's only so much he can put in front of Ruben Amorim's face. And if Ruben Amorim doesn't want to pick him or doesn't want to use him, then that's a little bit of an obstacle for him. And, if you back yourself and you back your own ability, okay, there's professionalism, which he's absolutely done. He's working hard, he's doing his best, he's not speaking out publicly. But then there's part of you that's like, there's a World Cup coming up. My trajectory was going like this, and I want to go and fulfil my potential. So Napoli and Kobbie Mainoo could be of serious interest, and it is one to watch. But this is what is coming out per the Mirror. And it is that Napoli have now emerged as the favourites to sign Kobbie Mainoo. The Serie A champions are leading the race to sign him in January, and Antonio Conte sees Mainoo as a perfect addition to his midfield. For the United midfielder, this move to Napoli could be ideal. It offers the chance to play with Premier League legend Kevin De Bruyne and also a familiar face in Scott McTominay. Meanwhile, Aston Villa and Newcastle United are also following Kobbie Mainoo's situation. They can offer him regular Premier League football, Also, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid are showing interest in the England international in recent weeks. So that's coming out of Transfer Live, but there's also a little bit coming in from Sky Sports as well. And that is that Antonio Conte's side are said to be in pole position to sign Kobbie Mainoo. A loan move is reportedly being considered as early as January. There is hope for Napoli's side that a deal can be concluded quickly. Again, do you know what Mainoo reminds me of? Mainoo's situation reminds me of Ahmad under Ten Hag. Ahmad is an extremely good player. He proved it again against Sunderland. That was Ahmad back at his best. Ahmad's a brilliant player. We all knew he was a good player under Ten Hag. He never got a kick. He barely ever got a kick because Ten Hag just did not fancy him. Ahmad was doing extra training sessions. He was working hard. He was a fan favourite. The fans wanted him to play. But Ten Hag just did not fancy his style. He didn't like it. He preferred the likes of Garnacho, Rashford, Amari Forson even got time over him, and he's playing, I think, towards the bottom end of Serie A now, if I'm not mistaken. Is it Monza he's playing for? Not hit the same level that Ahmad is anyway. I mean, some people would debate whether Man United are at that level, but Ahmad is just night and day, in my opinion, ahead of some of the players that Ten Hag was putting before him in the team. And I feel that way about Kobbie Mainoo. I think Kobbie Mainoo is absolutely working hard. He's been professional. Ahmad always stayed professional under Ten Hag, never spoke to the media, never kind of kicked up a fuss. But you probably sat there on the bench thinking, please, like Ruben Amorim, like Ahmad was like, Mr. Erik Ten Hag, I'm better than these players that you're playing ahead of me. And Kobbie Mainoo's probably sat there in his head thinking, this is what I've done so far in my career, and I am better than some of the players that are getting game time ahead of me. Can't you just give me a chance? Can't you just give me a start? Can't you just give me a few games in a row? And he just does not fancy him. He doesn't rate Mainoo's style for his system. He's explained why in the past, Ruben Amorim, about the pace, about his ability to cover ground. I personally don't see that when I'm watching the game. I think Mainoo is a better option than some of the players he plays ahead of him. And like I thought at the time, I thought Ahmad was a better option than some of the players that Ten Hag played ahead of him. But sometimes managers are stubborn, and sometimes managers just have certain things that they cannot get past. And no matter what you do, you're just not playing that player. So I'd be gutted if Kobbie Mainoo left. The reason I'd be gutted as well is because I get it, you've got to get behind the manager, and if you want Ruben Amorim for the long haul, you've got to understand the way he wants to play and kind of back that. However, Ruben Amorim might not even last the season. He might not. And there's no guarantees he's going to last all next season either. And people might call me negative for saying that. I want him to. There's nothing I want more than for Ruben Amorim to be super successful, go in and win the league with us one day and, go on a 15-game winning streak right now. However, you've got to look at the reality of the situation and where we are since he's come into Manchester United. We're all buzzing off the back of that Sunderland win, of course we are. But he's still not got back-to-back Premier League games. I hope he does. I hope he does well. However, if he outlasts Mainoo, Mainoo's been sold. Mainoo goes on to be, in my opinion, has the ability to be one of the best midfielders in Europe. He's got that much potential at his age. I genuinely believe that, right? Based off what I've seen of him and what I know about him. And Amorim ends up getting sacked anyway and it doesn't work out. Then it's like, well, we've lost out on a top quality player because of a manager's system that he was so hell-bent on, and it's not even worked out anyway with the manager. So I'm not the type of person that is player FC. I'm really not. I always want to support the manager and back the manager and what they want to do. But what I've seen from Kobbie Mainoo is man of the match in an FA Cup final against our biggest rivals, one of our biggest rivals in Manchester City. I've seen him have multiple top-class performances for Manchester United. I've seen him turn up in big games. I watched him on Venice Beach, and he was just ridiculous. Like, up close and personal, his technical ability is just insane. So I've seen a lot from Kobbie Mainoo about what he can do, what he can deliver. I've seen him do it on an international stage for England. What have I seen from Ruben Amorim? I've seen us beat newly promoted and future relegated sides. I've seen us beat teams that have, 10 men, and I've seen us on the odd occasion, get a win against a couple other sides like Aston Villa, I think Fulham, Everton right at the start of the season, Ipswich right at the start of the season. But I've not seen as much potential from Amorim as a manager that I've seen from Kobbie Mainoo as a player, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm going to get to the comments in a second, because I know so many people will be disagreeing with me on this, but I've got to get on here and say my truth. For me, Kobbie Mainoo showed me more at Manchester United to believe that he can be top class than what Ruben Amorim has. And that isn't me trying to go for Ruben Amorim. I massively rate the fact he's tweaked the system in that Sunderland game, and I really like the way we played, and I hope he does it more often. And I really like the stuff he's done behind the scenes, get rid of the egos, change the culture. The way he talks is fantastic, and he's likeable. I want him to be successful, I really do. But based off pure on the pitch evidence, Kobbie Mainoo's given me more to think, I'd need to keep you at Manchester United. So if it comes between the two of them, it is difficult for me, because Kobbie Mainoo is from the academy, is what this football club is built upon, and we don't really have any other academy prospects coming through as of now under Ruben Amorim. And I do think, based off what we've seen, it's not just because he's from the academy, he's got top class ability. And I just think a system that doesn't suit Kobbie Mainoo is, I question a system that doesn't. He's that good, I think. That's my opinion. I know a lot of you will disagree, but it does worry me. I'm going to come to your comments right now, but just in terms of the other clubs that are looking at him, Aston Villa, understood why they'd be looking at him. He'd be playing in that team. Newcastle, I find an interesting one, because their midfield is their strongest part of the pitch. Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali and Joe Linton. It's not even just the individuals. Them three as a combined are a powerhouse. They're absolutely elite together. So if I was Mainoo, I think I'd be avoiding that move, because it wouldn't be guaranteed game time. They've got one of the best midfielders in the league, I think, Newcastle. Real Madrid, I don't see him going there as of yet. I mean, you could probably compromise on game time there, just because obviously they're competing for everything all the time. They're one of the biggest clubs in the world, and I don't know if I could see that coming into fruition. Atletico Madrid, I could absolutely see. I could see him being there. I know that Simeone likes physical midfielders, but I think Ruben Amorim's actually, put Kobbie Mainoo down a little bit too much in terms of his physicality. I think he's got more to him than what Amorim's made out. And if Gallagher's getting off the bench and playing for them, I think there's definitely opportunity for Kobbie Mainoo there. But yeah, there is teams. I mean, Ben Jacobs came on the show. I think Fabrizio Romano said it before. There was up to 10 clubs, from around Europe going for Kobbie Mainoo in the summer. But Napoli currently leading the race. And, if he went to Napoli, it means he'd probably go there and absolutely smash it. McTominay has, and it looks like Rasmus Højlund is about to do that as well, and is started to. So it'll be interesting, because I absolutely expect Kobbie Mainoo, Joshua Zirkzee in January to be like, Mr. Ruben Amorim, I'm being professional, I'll work hard, I'll do anything that you want me to do, but I'm not getting game time. And as a footballer, it's so crucial at this part of my career to go and get that game time. How do I do it? We're out of the Carabao Cup. Hopefully they get some opportunity in the FA Cup, but that's super important for Amorim to get to the final stages of. It really is. We have to go far in the FA Cup. So is he going to trust these players? He's going to want to put his best team out every time. And in the league, we've only got one game a week. Not getting Europe has killed the prospects of Mainoo and Zirkzee's being able to develop and work the way into Amorim's eyesight and be like, hello, pick me, I'm proving it. They would have got games if we were in Europe, but now it's really, really difficult for them. So I fully expect in January the rumours to heat up again regarding Mainoo, regarding Zirkzee, because all it takes as well is Kobbie Mainoo, if he got that loan move in January, he got a move away and he absolutely smashed it from January until the summer. Thomas Tuchel might well take him. Like, if he absolutely smashed it, he might well do that. I know he's not really been part of his plans, but I remember when Jesse Lingard went to West Ham and he was knocking on the door. Do you remember when he had them incredible 6 months at West Ham? I think he went in the January window and he just smashed it. And people were saying, should he go to England? If Kobbie Mainoo did that at his age and his development process, there's still an opportunity. So, yeah. Nico Ali says, who should Mainoo start ahead of, in your opinion? I think he should definitely start ahead of Ugarte for me. A lot of people won't agree with that, but I think he can offer more than what Ugarte does. And it's not necessarily that he should be starting every single game. I'm just talking about a bit of game time here as well. Bruno Fernandes, plays every single minute God sends, and I'm one of the biggest Bruno fans around. But I think Kobbie Mainoo should get some opportunity in that role. I really do. I think if you want to move Bruno into the 10, you could play Kobbie Mainoo in the midfield. For example, you know, if you were to play Bruno and then Mbeumo in the 10, you could play Mainoo and Casemiro in the midfield. Mount is put a spanner in the works for that because Mount's been given opportunity and Mount's been one of our best players this season. He's been incredible, so you can't really drop him right now, especially after that Sunderland performance. But that's how I would see it. You could push Bruno into the 10. He doesn't want to do that, obviously. Most of us think Bruno's best position is in the 10. Then you play Mainoo and Casemiro in midfield, or you could even play Mainoo and Ugarte in midfield. However, I think Casemiro is absolutely crucial. I don't think United have anyone like Casemiro right now, which is crazy. And it's an area that we need to look at in January and the summer. We have to get a Casemiro replacement in. And I think, you know, if you get to the 80th minute, sorry, not the 80th, if you get to the 70th minute of a game, there's no harm in subbing Bruno Fernandes. He's I think, our best player still, right? He's not being utilised to his best abilities, but I think he's one of our best players. However, sometimes he's not having the greatest impact on a game. That happens. It happens to every player. De Bruyne has been subbed before for City. Odegaard gets subbed for Arsenal. Like, players get subbed. I'm just saying he should have more minutes to go out there and prove himself. JB Sahar says, I agree with Mark that I'm not Ruben Amorim out, but I'm not sure with Bruno and Casemiro we will improve for the future. So I give Ruben Amorim the benefit of the doubt. Well, that's something you've got to look at as well, because Bruno potentially could go to Saudi Arabia in the summer and Casemiro will be leaving. That's the heart of your midfield. It's your only midfield that kind of plays when it's Ruben Amorim's strongest 11. That is going to be gone, and then he's going to replace them two players. We don't know for sure that Bruno will go, but there's a lot of reports saying, you know, he could be open to a Saudi exit in the summer. Casemiro, we know, is going to go. They're two crucial players currently. Even though most people agree our midfield is not strong enough, they are two crucial players, and they are Amorim starting too. So that could change things if them two players both be replaced. And it's like, do you replace Bruno with Mainoo, or do you go out there and buy somebody else? Because if you go and buy somebody else, the writing's on the wall for Mainoo, really, isn't it? And, you know, with Casemiro, we just for me, Casemiro's like Mount, in the sense of Man United just play better when he plays. Currently, he's the only one that can actually kind of hold a midfield with Bruno, and it's still not great, but he's experienced, he has aerial ability, he reads the game well. Yes, he's rash, yes, he's sometimes hits the wrong pass and makes silly decisions, but overall, Casemiro, when he plays, United play better. When Mount plays, United play better. And people can talk about how Amorim tweaks things a little bit when Casemiro plays because he doesn't have the same pressing capabilities as Ugarte. I get that. But Man United's best team on the pitch is when Casemiro plays currently, and he will be going, and it's still not the answer. So the midfield needs to be solved massively for Ruben Amorim to be successful, and for Man United in general to be successful, in my opinion. A lot of people in the comments think that Kobbie Mainoo is overhyped, and you're not seeing much of him play. You're not seeing much of him. How is a player supposed to convince you if they're getting 8 minutes here and there? It usually in points of a game where it's really hard to make an impact. I think that's really harsh of a lot of you guys to be writing Kobbie Mainoo off based off the game time he's got. Think about what he's done for Man United at such a young age. Think about his breakout season at 18 years of age. Come on, that ability. You know, he's just not getting the game time under Amorim to prove it to you. What do you expect him to do? Come on and score a hat-trick within 6 minutes? And also, he's got that thing in the back of his head now where when he comes on the pitch, he feels like he probably has to do everything he can to be like, hello, I should play. So that gets into your head as well. Because you're like, I need to do this, I need to do that, and it can affect your decision-making. Anyway, a little bit on... apparently, Zirkzee as well is attracting clubs from Italy, another player that's not getting game time. And again, it's a shame because if he went in January, Joshua Zirkzee, and then you roll back round and in summer, magically, United somehow end up with European football, he's a player you want. He's so versatile. He's got a great attitude. He's got that, like, this is cringe for me to say, but he's got like that dog in him a little bit that you want. I would be gutted if we lost Zirkzee and then we ended up in Europe. If United become a team that just isn't in Europe, which God forbid, like hopefully we don't, then there's no point having Joshua Zirkzee. There isn't. He's not going to play. Like now he's not playing, and I bet he's gutting for him. However, if you've got Europe and you've got multiple games a week, he's a fantastic player to have. He can play 10, he can link up well, he's technically good, he's physical. You want him there. So I like Zirkzee. I think he's got a lot more to give. His technical ability is top. He's not as if he's someone that, you know, you can't trust them when they've got the ball. They're really good at keeping possession. I like Zirkzee a lot, and I think not having Europe is killing him. And if he can stay patient, because I think with Zirkzee, even if he left in January, he's not going to make the Dutch national team. I think Ronald Koeman's criticised him multiple times unfairly, like he has done with De Ligt a bit as well in the past. But with Zirkzee, I don't think he'll get into the Dutch national squad anyway. If he can just stay patient, and it's hard to ask a player to put a year of their career, a season of their career on hold. But if he can stay patient and we end up getting some sort of European football, I think next season really could be a season where Joshua Zirkzee kicks on. He's got to stay fit, stay injury-free throughout the pre-season, because I think that's setting back a little bit. But if Ruben Amorim can do that Fergie thing where it's arm around the shoulder, you're going to be so important for me back end of this season and then coming up into European football, and you're going to get an opportunity. If he stays patient, I think there could be a really good role for him there at United, but it's hard to ask a player to do so. You've got James Cave saying, I really believe Mainoo can run a midfield. His physicality can't truly be the barrier to him playing if Casemiro is starting. Exactly. That's what doesn't make sense. Casemiro's just probably better early than Mainoo, but physically, no way that Casemiro is better physically than Mainoo. There's just no way. I saw Mainoo sprint in front of me at the Stretford end the other day, all the way back to get back in position, and it was like he was going really quick. I don't buy this physicality thing. I really don't. Like that is such a good point from James Cave. How can you say with like everything behind you that it's Mainoo's physicality that's an issue? Yeah. Casemiro is starting games and he's crucial at the moment. He's crucial to us playing well. It just doesn't add up. Let's move on to Marcus Rashford. So it's understood that Barcelona have an option to make Marcus Rashford's move to the Nou Camp permanent for 26.2 million. But shock horror, just to kind of put it all into simple terms where I don't have to go on and on, they don't want to do so. So they've made it very clear. The sporting director has made it very clear that they have the option, not the obligation, to sign the international for 26.2 million. So Deco has said that it's an option rather than an obligation. And it's now been reported that despite encouraging signs from Rashford so far, his long-term future at Barcelona is yet to be decided. It is claimed that it isn't expected to happen through the 26.2 million clause included in their loan move, and instead that Barcelona will try to lower that fee or even try to go for another loan in the 26-27 season. And it remains to be seen whether or not United would entertain the prospect of negotiation or another temporary agreement. And then it just goes on to say, you know, he scored at the weekend in the 4-1 loss to Sevilla. He's had mixed reviews, but overall Barcelona are really happy with him. And I think what I've seen of Rashford at Barcelona so far, I think he's doing pretty well. And I think he absolutely justifies 26.2 million. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? If I was United, I'd be going back saying, scrap that option to buy, I want 40. Barcelona, the cheek on them, we're not paying 26.2 million for a guy that's already, you know, got this. I think he's got 4 goal contributions now, maybe even more than that. Or with Rashford, I'm going to actually look it up in a second because I want to get it dead on. But Barcelona are basically being like, we're not paying 26.2 million because we know you're desperate to get rid of him. We know that Rashford doesn't want to go back to you. We're going to try and do it even cheaper because of our financial situation. Do you want another loan? We'll pay you 15 mil. Sack that. Manchester United have to stay strong on this. Look, Rashford has proved out there in the Champions League, in La Liga, that he's got something to offer. He's working well under Hansi Flick. He's fitting into a Barcelona side that are one of the better sides in Europe. He's worth, in my opinion, about 40 million based on his track record as well. Okay, yeah, there is inconsistencies there. And you might say, well, if you're saying all this about Rashford, why wouldn't you take him back at United? It's been and gone with United. You know, it's been and gone. it's like a marriage that's ending. We had some really happy times that I look back on very, very fondly, but it's just not going to work anymore. Doesn't mean you can't go on and be a brilliant husband or wife to somebody else. Rashford, you know, he's got stuff to give. He really has. It's just unfortunately, with regret, it's not worked at United, but he's still got worth to him, and he's proving that now. So I don't like that from Barcelona. I can understand why they'll try and do it, because they know Rashford's on 300 grand a week. You don't want to give that up. What club out there is going to pay 300 grand a week? And they know United don't want to pay 300 grand a week, and they know he doesn't want to come back to United, and they know United don't want him back. So they're trying their luck. I don't think that he's necessarily... I don't think that he's necessarily gonna want to go anywhere else than Barcelona. I think Barcelona will probably end up having their way with this, which is crazy to say, and one of them where you might have to just take the loss. But when it is pure profit and you're so desperate for money coming into the football club, and we need multiple positions in the summer, we need 2 midfielders, maybe even 3, but at least 2. You need wing back. You know, you need a centre-back, especially if Maguire's going, which it looks like he is. You need as much as you can get. But I think Barcelona have got a tactic, and they're quite sure about it. Who is going to pay 300 grand a week for Rashford? Maybe Bayern Munich, maybe. But still, it's tough. It's really tough because he's such a good player, but wages would be a stumbling block, which is why Barcelona will probably try the luck on that one. I've seen a couple of people say, swap for Pedri. You know, it's just never going to happen. It's just, if United end up letting Rashford go for lower than 26 million when he's literally a 45, 50 million pound player, only us would manage that. And again, that's where you look back at the wages that we've been giving out over the years, and you've got to make sure that you keep your wage structure in check, or else when it does come to sell big assets like that, it's going to be difficult. Like even Garnacho, we probably undersold him, but we got 40 million for him because his wages aren't very high. Rashford's off the scale. No clubs are lining up to pay them big wages right now. So he's good, but he's not 300 grand a week good. However, he's not worth 20 million, he's worth about 45, 50 million. So United are kind of getting burnt on both ends here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I hope he keeps smashing it at Barca, because that gives us more chance that they will feel pressured to pay, especially from their fans. If the fans really want to keep him, and there's a big media outcry in Spain, keep Rashford, and United are like, look, it's a 26 million or nothing. If he's done really well across the season, it's harder for Barca to kind of not do that. I'm not saying they would succumb to fan pressure, but it's an element that could help us out. So hopefully he keeps going with that. And just in terms of his stats, just to bring them up, it's 10 games for Rashford, it's 3 goals, and how many assists is it? I think it is 5 assists overall and 3 goals for Rashford in 10 games. Again, it's good going. I know they just lost 4-1. I get that. However, he has done pretty well in a lot of his performances for them, and especially in the Champions League from what I've seen as well. And I watched his first couple Barca games when he was coming off the bench and stuff for them, and then I watched him obviously in the Champions League as well. And he's doing better for them than he was for us. There's no doubt about it. Is that because of Hansi Flick as a coach helping him? Or is that because it's a new challenge, he's got that bit between his teeth and he wants to prove people wrong? Alan Newman says, can't be taking a loss on players. If he's going to play well, other clubs will go for him. I'm just saying that, Alan, I agree with you. Other clubs should come for him, but it's the wage. No one wants to pay 300 grand a week. However, if he absolutely smashes it out of the park from now until the end of the season, it's an easier sell for United. I mean, just in terms of Champions League and, you know, watching other teams, make sure you're all tuning into That's Football. I get it's the international break right now, but England's going to be over there. Daily football videos every day around all other types of football, European football, Premier League football. So get your notifications switched on for That's Football. We also have the Bundesliga highlight show this week. We have an EAFC 26 stream at 4 p.m. as well, which you don't want to miss. They are golden. And of course, we have all the weekend watch-alongs for you throughout when United's on the United Stand, and obviously all other football-related stuff on That's Football. 8 p.m. show every night on the United Stand that you don't want to miss. And just in terms of international football, for me, can be quite boring at times, I'm not going to lie to you. However, what I will be tuning into, it's an absolute firecracker, England versus Wales on Thursday. I'll be there on That's Football watching along to that. Make sure you guys are there too. Just a last little bit of news I wanted to speak about. And, okay, this is a little bit that I missed, but it's not loads. Basically, Trabzonspor, where Onana is currently on loan. Apparently they want to sign André Onana permanently for Manchester United, and it's being reported from The Sun, so, you know, take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt, but apparently they're really impressed with Onana over there and they want to sign him permanently. Look, that is music to my ears. You know, when Onana was having that period at United where he just couldn't even catch a cold, and you really did think to yourself, like, how are we ever going to be able to move this guy on? Who is going to come for him? Well, thankfully, Trabzonspor have come and they've got him on loan. You know, he's actually getting paid more over there than he would be at United. Wild. They're really impressed with him so far. And apparently, according to reports, they want to keep him. It's not got an option or obligation to buy, but there is strong indications that they are keen to open discussions with United about signing Onana on a permanent transfer when his loan move expires. So that is Happy Tuesday for you all. I mean, Larmans looks like the real deal, and it's only one game. Don't want to get too carried away. But he looks like he's got the basics. He can dive properly. He's commanding. His temperament is good. Cool, calm, collected. Coming off his line well. Demanding his back line. All on his first game. Clean sheet as well. Happy days. First of many, hopefully. Again, don't want to start saying he's the next, you know, Courtois after one game against Sunderland at home. But it looked good. And then that, and off the back of that, reports coming out that Onana, looking like he's securing a permanent move at the end of the season. Thank you very much. It's a decent wage off our books, and it's a problem that we don't have to worry about. Having to try and move Onana on all through next summer is not something you really want to be trying to do. He's not got a future at the club. He needs to go. Having that easy access exit is good for United. So, yeah, happy about that. Tears in my eyes, says Nico Ali. If you know, you know. Pablo says Barca can do on with their crappy deals. A lot of you guys are just like, with the Rashford thing, cut your losses and say goodbye. I, personally, am on the side of stand your ground. It's a £45-50 million asset, especially if he does really well. Stand your ground. We're not here to be a charity case. So that's how I would be tackling it. And then also, I'll come back to this on another show, but Paul Scholes has named Eddie Howe as an ideal replacement for Ruben Amorim. And when asked who could replace the Portuguese, the former Manchester United midfielder said Eddie Howe. I'm not sure about his assistant Jason Tindall, but definitely Eddie Howe. I think it's... I mean, he's been asked a question, Paul Scholes. It's not as if he's come out and said, Eddie Howe to replace Ruben Amorim, do it now. I don't want to get into Ruben Amorim replacements much when it doesn't look like there's going to be any change of manager so soon. So imminently anyway. Don't get me wrong, a big loss against Liverpool and then, you know, a losing streak and he could be in trouble. However, I feel like I go against the grain so often. However, I've got to stay true to my opinion on here, and it's all about debate, it's all about community. I'm not going to go into too much detail on it. Get in the comments what you think. If Eddie Howe was on offer, I would strongly consider it. However, I don't think he comes to United. I think he's got a good gig at Newcastle, and I think Newcastle would really do everything to keep him. However, we did, you know, we've done Newcastle over dirty quite recently. We went and got Dan Ashworth, but that didn't even work out. So great stuff. We got Dan Ashworth off them when they were hell-bent that wasn't going to happen. We got Mbumo when they were trying to go for Mbumo. We got Sesko when they were trying to go for Sesko. Newcastle probably can't stand us. We've pulled the rug from under them multiple times as of recent years. This is what Eddie Howe had to say about links recently of him moving. He said, I'm all in at Newcastle. My commitment is 100% here and always has been. My family are here and we are fighting every day to make it a success. That is what we're doing. The season could be a wonderful thing, and that is what I'm trying to focus on, making a success of the games we've got coming up. I mean, that's obvious. Even if he was thinking about going, he would never say otherwise. He's always going to say he's committed to Newcastle, but If Eddie Howe was on the table, I would be absolutely open to it. I would. I think he plays really good football. I think he plays exciting football. I think he's a good man manager. I think he's got a good eye for talent. I think he's great at improving players. I like him a lot. I really do. I wasn't sure of him when he first went to Newcastle, but he's done a really good job, especially considering they've been working with quite a low budget as of recently. I mean, I say that and they went and dropped a lot of money on Watermaida, but he's done really well with that team. However, I don't think that is even a possibility that would be on the table. I think Newcastle will keep him and I don't think he'd come. So, yeah, I would take him if he was there, but I don't think... I understand where Scholes is coming from. He's a good manager and I would take him, but I don't think it's an option, so it's not really worth talking about that much. And for now, as I've said, a lot of people think I am Amorim out. I'm not. I didn't want to sack Amorim this international break, even if he did lose to Sunderland. However, I am very cautious around where the ceiling is with this team, and if he can get a consistent run of games going and points on the board, I would give him another 3, 4, 5 games to see what he's about. That's where I'm at with Ruben Amorim right now. I want him to work. I want him to go and win every single one of them. I don't have to win every single one of them for me to stay Amorim in. However, I do think there's a period now where he's got to get some consistency into this team. So time will tell. Anyway, guys, smash a like on the video if you've not already. Thank you everyone for getting involved and watching. Thank you for all of your super chats. Get your opinions down below as well. What do you think about the Rashford deal, about Kobbie Mainoo potentially going and all the clubs that are interested in him? Would you do everything you can to keep hold of Zirkzee, or would you be open to him going? And also, what do you make of Paul Scholes' Eddie Howe shout? I'd be interested to know, because seen a few in English bias in the comments, which is always what happens whenever you bring up any English manager or player. But I've also seen some people saying Daniel Thompson, Eddie Howe has done a great job at Newcastle and Bournemouth. I still back Amorim, but if we did change, it'd be a fantastic option, but extremely difficult. Gav Patterson says, Beth, do you agree that Mbeumo is going to explode at United? Yes. Mbeumo, I'll leave you with this. Mbeumo has capability to be signing of the season. I still think, just because United haven't done so well at the start of the season, I think it's going underrated how good of a signing he's actually been. He's so good. Anyway, I'll leave you with that, everyone. Thank you for watching the show, and I will see you on the next one.